Fisherando might call it because Bobby Fischer invented it. I think it's a more appropriate name rather than the Freestyle Chess. Whatever they came up with. I prefer calling it Fisherandom. Okay. And we got a few fabulous matches taking place right now. Magnus, Abdusatorov, Fabi, Levon, Ding, Alireza. I would watch them all at the same time if I could, and I am watching them at the same time, but I'm going to try and taking them one by one, thinking about what's going on here. Oops, let's go to the last move that I played, refreshing a bit. We're going to be perusing through the games, folks. Okay, so right now as we speak, Magnus with whites, and Nordebek looks like he had just castled the king. And in order for white to castle, just to clarify, in order for white to castle, they will have to play the bishop, obviously. You got to play the bishop somewhere. If you want to do something with tempo, that might be the thing. Because really, having the king, the white king, on the same file with the black rook, just I don't think it's a very wise thing. I really don't think it's very wise. Rook align with your king, so you want to go somewhere else. You want a castle, and also I don't think this is very doable. I mean, that could be problematic due to some bishop attacks on g6 and things. So it just doesn't feel very right. Yeah, you do have this stuff, but it still doesn't feel very okay. The most okay thing, as okay as possible here, is just probably performing a check. Sorry, a check, and then castle king, exactly as black did just now. Okay, that's how I see it. And when you guys are joining, of course, you can type in your personal candidate moves, and we'll be just discussing it. My friends, hi there, Sonoji. How's it going, man? All good? How's it going? So I was just saying before you actually connected here, I was just saying that if I were white, I would seriously think about doing some check with tempo and then castle the king ASAP, because it's really problematic having the rook on the d file. You don't want to play with the king on the d file where the rook is. You definitely don't want to do this. So yeah, it is a thing. So that's what I would seriously think about playing. Now, given the fact Magnus is like 51 minutes on the clock, I guess he could just think about various stuff. I think it's quite dangerous not to castle for white here. I don't see, frankly, I don't see any super tactic you could employ here. And it's one of those things you really don't want to launch crazy moves, tactical strikes, until you actually made sure that your king is also safe. So that's how I would approximate this position here. Don't know about your opinion, Sonoji, but I guess you may want to castle your king. Probably the sooner the better. The sooner the better. Bishop f5, king b8, bishop f5, king b8, g6. g6, then we're gonna drop the knight on g3, Sonoji. I think you are forced to. So I appreciate your thought. I think that's cool, but I think knight g3 allows us to just... Oh, right, I see. It's the fork you're mentioning. Okay, so bishop f5, king b8, knight g3. Does that work? And then you castle. g6, you're gonna drop the... Okay, hold on a second. Can you do bishop c2... Bishop c2, g6, knight g3. You still want a castle, so you gotta do something with the bishop now. Alright, bishop c2, bishop f5, bishop f5 check, and then knight g3. I don't know. Bishop c2. Well, he didn't play it, I'm just saying. He didn't play it. Bishop c2 and then castle. You have to. There is another thing, actually, though. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. g6 definitely forks. Bishop c2. G6, and in the minute you're moving this guy, no, that one is defended, right? So it doesn't work. So, I mean, it's relatively safe. Bishop C2, still bishop C2 though. Bishop C2. Yeah, I think it's okay, bishop C2. I think now it's okay, bishop C2. Sorry if it's not very attacking or anything, well, I guess. What else? F5? Nah, that's just painful. You can't do this. It's just mad. You won't be able to castle ever. So there, I think we can completely disregard F5. So bishop C2, back to bishop C2 again. Okay, he played knight G3. Can you believe that? I did say knight G3 because, you know, there's exactly as you mentioned, there's the G6 problem, especially after bishop F5 being played. So knight G3, a little bit painful. King is still on the D file. You don't want to keep that king on the D file for too long. I guess black can play G6 to stopping you developing with tempo checking king, I guess. But bishop C2 always playable here. Yeah. So bishop C2, it is playable indeed. D4, of course D4. Of course D4. If I was Abdusatorov, I'd definitely open up the D file. But the problem is you got to do something with that king. Of course D4. It's a problem. D4. Okay, let's put it this way. D4. Check. You're gonna move. And desperately I'm gonna play the king on C2. And if there's any check, I'm gonna play B3. You take, I take. I think it's okay. Rook is defended by the queen. So I guess bishop F5. Oopsie. Bishop F5. King moves. King C2. If you don't do that, I think it's a big problem. I don't think you got too many choices now, right, Sonoji? I think you're quite limited in your options now. Oh, bishop C2, king B8, king C2. Then there is a problem with G6 as well. Where the heck do you get a bishop then? Well, assuming they play D4. I'm not sure if they're going to play D4, but assuming. Again, D4, bishop F5, king B8, king C2. I think it's okay-ish. I'm not very ecstatic about white's position, but I guess you have to do it in this fashion. Unless you want to move again the knight, H5, G3. You want to play knight again? This is crazy. No, you can't, especially after D4. D4 is very dangerous. D4 threatens to open up the rook file, and this is devastating for white here. So I'm sorry, I can't find another way around this kind of threat. If Abdusatorov going to push D4, again, D4, bishop F5, king to B8, king to C2. Is that survivable? I'm not even sure if it's winnable, but is it survivable for white? This bishop is a monster of a bishop here. The bishop on H6, a nightmare for white. And the rook aligned with the king is also very, very much of a nightmarish situation here for the white king. You never ever want to keep that king there. King C2, black has D takes C3. They do. They do. Queen A4. I think Queen A4 is could be replied with B3. Bishop F5, King B8, King C2, Queen A4, B3, D3. This, oh my god, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. Oh boy. Frankly, how exactly you're supposed to be getting the king off the D file then? Yeah, I get your point. I think you're absolutely right. Queen A4, I think it's very, very, very attacking again. And D4, D3 coming down is just scary as hell. No, it is a problem, this one for white. How do you deal with that? Do you do d3 now? Just asking. I mean, genuine question. I haven't considered d3, Soro G. I haven't considered this. I only looked at bishop f5. It seemed to give me a moment of respite, maybe some tempi to saving things around, but I'm not sure at all, especially after you indicated queen a4 threats and stuff. It looks incredibly complicated. It looks very difficult for white to hold on the position. I haven't analyzed d3. Yeah, it is black. Even worse. Absolutely. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Knight g3. It is black's turn to play. Totally. So if not d4, you got to do d4. You don't have another chance. So if Abdusatorov wants to go for another murderous game, he should go d4 right now. He got to go d4. I would play d4, I guess. It's the most attacking move. Black king is safer than the white king, and you open up the d file. What's not to love about it? What's not? Oopsie. Apologies. Let me refresh the page. Yeah, so d4, there you go. Probably that's the move. I don't know what else can you play. More attacking, that is. So Magnus will have to figure out ways to just survive in this tactical attack. I'd rather have blacks than whites here. Honestly, I would play with blacks here now with whites. I don't like whites very much now. What do you do? What do you do against d4? There's no safe square for the king. Where do you move the king? I mean, I don't know. It just looks very pessimistic for white after d4. How do you defend? Could it be? No, but that's so slow. d4, knight f5. It's desperation. Pawn takes c3, check. Already check. You're moving. Queen a4. My God, this is painful to play. b3 and then take, and if you take again, you're dropping the rook. It's a disaster, Sonoji. Really, that's so it doesn't work. Knight f5. d4 and heck, Magnus gonna have to spend 15 minutes figuring out what to play. d4, bishop f5. Check and maybe king c1. I know, it's absolutely sick, but what on earth can you play? So you stay away from the queen a4 check, Sonoji. Again, d4, bishop f5, king b8, king c1. Painful, I know. But at least you're not getting checked with the queen, and you're not be subjecting your king to opening up and things. And as long as the rook on f1 defends f4, you might be able to stay for a while on the c square. Maybe given a chance, knight f5, and you remove this massive troublemaker of a bishop. What do you think about this one, Sonoji? Bishop f5, king b8, king c1, not c2. I think c2 is incredibly tough. Actually, it's very bad, I guess. In the light of what we discussed and your proposition, I think it's going to be very tough for Magnus. King c1 might be providing, though, a better retreating square for the king, don't you think? King c1. And I'm assuming black would play d4. That's the most dangerous thing for white, right? The most attacking move. My friends, I don't see another one. Yeah. Queen c3 instead of bc3. Yeah, that can be played too if they take. Yep, that's true. That's true. D4, bishop f5, king b8, king c1, dc, queen c3. Yes, I agree, yeah. But hey, you tell me what is this thing actually doing, because I'm very shocked by his choice. I mean, what why didn't he play d4? I mean, that was the most attacking move ever, and he played g6. Oh boy, come on. Okay, I think I might get the idea behind g6, although it's a bit painful to me. Maybe g6 was played exactly to prevent bishop f5 from happening, amongst others. Amongst others. G6 not allowing bishop f5, that might be. And not allowing knight f5, that might be too. So g6, I think, plays a defensive offensive purpose, taking f5 from both bishop and knight. So that could be the reason behind g6. Still d4. I wonder if d4 wasn't actually the real move for black. But that one is very limiting too. G6. It limits white's developing pieces. Yes, Sonoji. That's it. You nailed it, man. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it does now. Although G6, we have to admit, G6 takes away the F5 square for the white pieces. True. Also, it's an invitation for white to explore other defensive measures, like E3. Exactly, like E3. Still, bishop C2 could be played. Yeah, it's a bit of a, I mean, it kind of like you allowing white to explore other avenues for defending, for efficient defense here. Yeah, there you go. There you go. E3. E3 being played already. There you go. E3 being played already. That means this guy can't moving down. Yep. So forget about d4. At least we have signaled the d4 imminence and danger. And now e3 played, the other pawn cannot move down the board. So that puts a stoppage to d4. And I think g6 actually allowed Magnus to stay in the game and going maybe beyond just survival. Maybe he gonna go for other tactical ideas. I think I'm not sure about the g6. Probably d4 was the real shot. We can double check at the end. We can double check with the stockfish at the end. Yeah. Yeah. I guess. I guess. Okay. Abdusatorov got to think. Let me briefly now hover over the other games. Levon, Aronian, Fabi, because I haven't looked at all at these guys here, at all. Ooh, this freaking fish around them. You can't get this guy because of this. Will you be taken then? Take with the bishop. Maybe you play a knight. I don't know. Just saying. You gotta connect the rooks. Levon has to connect the rooks, and you can't connect the rooks because the bishop is on b1. And you can't move the bishop because on c2 you're going to be captured. Here you're going to be captured. Disaster. Therefore, I reckon you got to remove this guy. But what exactly are you going to be taking? What are you going to play? You're going to play g3. This is a disaster. It's knight h3. Can't be played. Therefore, you take the knight. You take with the knight. You take with the bishop. Which one is it? Which one is it, guys? Which one is it? If you take with the bishop, that's a forcing move. It's that kind of thing, forcing move capture. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and then knight d4. Maybe. And then potentially knight b5. That could be employable as well. Hitting this. Not bad, not bad. But Actually, I think it might be kind of awful because you're going to get yourself in a major pin here. Not sure at all. So if you do this, aha. As soon as we actually debated it, the king moved on h1, therefore no more pin along this diagonal. And he didn't rush into knight takes the knight or anything. Can't castle now. The minute it's gone. He moved the king. Forget about castling. Mm, king h1. So king h1 moves the king away from that dark square diagonal. He moved away, therefore he might be exploring this, and that, but still you won't want to necessarily put your guys in a pin, don't you? It's still a little bit weird. Also, if you take with the bishop, they must take, and then you're still having that nagging idea. I know you move the king away, but it's still unpleasant. I'm not sure how you're going to get this guy off the board. And if you don't, can you perhaps find other ways to get the bishop in the game? It's very difficult to assess this. If the bishop don't move, if the bishop doesn't move, the rooks can't be connected. Therefore, you can't place any rook on the c-file. The light square white bishop is the most painful piece for Levon now. I think he deeply hates the white's bishop position. You can't keep that bishop there. And still he's forced to keep it for a while. How do you remove that black knight on f4? There are some consequences there. There is another idea. When Levon moved the king to h1, allows him to play g3 without getting forked by knight h3. So that's another important thought. Because after knight a3, heck, you just go with the queen wherever you think it's the best square. g3, I don't know. g3, e1, stuff like this. And you got rid of the knight. And then you can play bishop d3. Just saying. Amongst others. So I think that might be an idea. So when Levon retreated king h1, he actually not just moved away from any incoming nasty checks, pins, and stuff along this diagonal, b6, g1, very dangerous, but also maybe he wants to play some g3 at some point. Maybe. G3. G3 definitely you're not getting into a fork now, so that might be doable. Yeah, they're gonna move the queen e1 or g3. Probably e1. Probably e1. And then you can play bishop d3. That's what I said. What I said is after a move like h3, you could just you could develop bishop d3, and you've just connected your white rooks. Maybe it's a price worth paying, that g3, knight h3, and heck, wait a minute, g3, knight h3, can you play queen g2? Of course you can. And again, bishop d3 is playable, I guess. It's a tough one, but you gotta sit down and calculate, especially if you got like 40-something minutes. Anyway, Fabi's turn. Black's turn. I was just trying to figure out how can the bishop move off the back rank, but yeah, it could be. Let's have a look at Ding and Firouzja here. All right, so Ding Liren just took on d5. Alireza took on d4. There is a check coming here. There is another exploitable square here. What else is here? This guy is so dangerous. That bishop is so So dangerous. I wonder if that's playable. Just zigzagging a little bit. Just keep the, yeah, but this guy is under threat, right? If you play this and they take, you go here, there's no checkmate. Hmm. No, you gotta take this guy, right? I don't know. You gotta remove the knight. Queen takes d4, yeah. Queen takes d4. Hey, what's your username on chess.com? You play on chess.com, what's your username? Suno G, what's your username on chess.com? You seem to be a seasoned player, so you must have an account on chess.com, right? You most certainly must have a chess.com account. Have we met before? Have we met before on different streams or something? I mean, I know people change username and nicknames very often and stuff like that, so that's why I'm asking. All right. Cool stuff. Cool things. So, what had just happened here? Pawn took, B, C. You still need... Oh my god. What? What? Sorry, what? Sorry, what is going on here? Queen e4. Queen e4. Why didn't he take the knight? What the heck's going on? So let's think about this for a sec. If queen were to capture, okay, you could take back with this guy, right? But the knight goes somewhere safe. Anywhere. That's something weird. Yeah, let me refresh the page. This is weird. No, it's not a mouse slip. That's what I say. It's crazy. Maybe Alireza goes for the bigger checkmate something. We thought it's a mouse slip, but actually that idea had been employed. I didn't pay attention to that one. I thought it's not going to work out. But if if Ding Liren didn't take the knight, it's because he must have seen some ways to getting seriously threatened. I thought it's a mouse slip too. Very weird. Oh, or I thought maybe I did a mistake. Okay, let me refresh the page. No, it's not a mouse slip. I mean, I've refreshed the page. It's not on mouse slip. Very weird, though. I mean, probably there was a massive threat or something. We might have missed it. Let me go back a bit. So you're telling me that if I grab this guy, there's a checkmate lurking somewhere here? What? What the heck is the... Where's the checkmate, guys? Where's the checkmate? Queen takes d4. Fine. Where's the checkmate? What's going on? What the heck's going on? Bishop b6. Uh-huh. Pin. Pin, 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 pin. Absolute pin. Goodbye, queen. Cunning little guy. Cunning little guy. Ooh. 0-1. He just resigned. Definitely Ding is not in. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm so sorry for Ding. I think he needs to recover somehow. He kind of like lost all of the games. He's not feeling okay. He's not okay. He needs some break. He needs to maybe. He's definitely not in the best shape. He is definitely not. I'm really sorry for the guy. Really. He must have felt absolutely awful. Oh boy. All right, let's see what this guy's been doing here. Magnus and Abdusatorov here. Okay, Abdusatorov black here. Bishop retreats here. That is strange. Let me just go back a couple of moves. So let me just play a couple of moves here. We were at knight g3, g6, e3, queen d7, likely for this kind of idea, getting on g4, checking the king, amongst others. Queen to e2, defending g4. Rook going to pinning this pawn. So you got to be careful about that guy. All sorts of reasons. And Magnus played knight c2 to defend and to potentially stopping d5 to d4. Bishop to f8. I guess bishop f8 wants to come here. Pressurizing more the e3. I don't know why, but it seems like Abdusatorov really kills it with every single move. He's really onto fabulous moves. And now Magnus has to contrive stuff. Because I guess bishop f8 wants to relocate to bishop c5. And more pressure on e3. And let me just add more ends. Ooh, b4 to stopping desperately, but there is en passant, isn't it? There is en passant, which if you take, you might get some checks and getting things off the back rank. Very difficult. I guess you want to take en passant? If you are Abdusatorov here. So b4 stops any bishop c5, that's for sure. But there is always en passant. So you're going to take on b3, right? Unless I'm missing again some pin or some tactics, which is possible always. Possible always. C takes b3. Yeah. Yeah, so going back to Ding Liren, yeah, I'm really sorry for his streak of losses. He's seriously tilting and he's definitely not in a good shape. Yeah, I think he lost all the games, didn't he? In the Fisher Random, he lost all of the games. All right. Bishop to e6. That looks like double attack on g4, isn't it? And now if you want to play something, you gotta do h3 now. I think he didn't take en passant, dudes. He didn't take en passant. Abdusatorov. He goes for this, but I guess there's always this. And then you're coming with this. Oh man. I think Magnus is a bit in trouble. Heck, that bishop can move back on h6 if there's something. He is definitely doing the attacks here. He is going for the kill. That's exactly right, Sonoji. He's going for the kill with every single move. Boy, he's finding ways to attack. I mean, you can't ignore bishop g4 because you're just gonna drop everything. This is such a serious threat. He finds them with tempo. He develops a bishop of the back rank. He goes for a check, which is a deadly check if you don't react to this. So he does find them. He attacks, he attacks, he attacks, and I won't be very, very, very surprised if he beats Magnus again in the 960. I won't be surprised. He is just killing it. He is absolutely killing it. To my understanding, you only got h3. Or do you want to go for f5? Sorry, I didn't consider f4. Let me tell you what's the caveat with the f4, in my understanding at least. If you go with f5, apologies, if you go with f5, you will stop this for sure because you got like 3 defenders for f5. But on the other hand, you're going to be allowing bishop here. Again. So, heck, probably h3. I guess now Magnus calculates in between h3 and f5. So he just actually goes for h3 and f5. Which one's gonna be? You guys tell me. Sonoji, you could just tell me what do you think is the best. Yeah, either this or this. Which one is it? You gotta do something, right? Or you're gonna move the king. But it's ridiculous. You're gonna give up a pawn. It's a disaster. You can't allow bishop g4, even if you move king to c1, say. So even if you play king c1, you just can't allow bishop g4. You can't. It's too much. It's just too much. Crazy. You gotta do something about. Yeah, anything's possible. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I miss I missed the fact that so I confused Alireza with the Abdu. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah, anything's possible though. Anything's possible. So, but did he play h3? Yes, I did say h3 because I think you're quite limited. And I did say h5, by the way. I did say h3 and I did say h5, which he did play it instantaneously. Just immediately he played it. I'm sorry, I don't see very bright horizon here for Magnus in this game. Well, on this occasion I am until actually I'm missing the pins and stuff. But yeah, this one was probably I was lucky with this anticipation here. Yes, h3, h5, further undermining g4. Yeah, f5 is always possible. You can't take on h5, so you gotta think about this kind of stuff. I don't think you got any other option but f5, unfortunately. And you know what f5 gonna be reacted with? Bishop h6. It's a problem for Magnus. I think he's shaking his head now. I don't see the camera, but I think he's actually banging his head now. So you're gonna do this, which gonna give you a little bit of a respite here. And then Abdu's gonna play bishop h6 almost straight away. And again, he gonna be shaking his head. He gonna be shaking his head now, Magnus. I think he talks with himself now. I don't think he's happy. You can't be happy with the white here, really. Oh boy, that just doesn't look good. Is there any crazy tactics you could do? Hi there, Cthulhu. Just wondering if Magnus can survive this crazy Fisher random here, because looks like Abdusatorov is grilling him. Yes, it's a momentary relief, but you're not gonna be solving anything. Yeah, it's a relief. Okay. Oh man, wait a sec. H5, knight d4. He gives up on the G, but also he goes for the bishop. Takes. Heck, you gotta take the bishop now. You don't have another chance. But then you're going to be double attack on e3. I think you're going to drop it. Ooh, what is Magnus cooking? What is Magnus cooking? Boy, he found a way around it, didn't he? You gonna take, right? I think bishop to e6 was actually the move that decided the game, so to speak. I think that's the game changer. Bishop e6. Well, how do I put it? I think the game changer was actually knight d4, played by Magnus, which attacks the very problematic piece here. Weakness for white is e3. This is the weakness for white. And now problem for Abdo is knight being hit by the pawn. So you got to do something. When the pawn takes, I guess you take with this knight. Knight g3 takes f5. Bishop takes, knight takes. It could be. And then you got to figure out the heck is going on with those two guys. And you got to figure out what to do with the knight on h8, which wants to participate somehow. Well, that's a long shot, brother. But maybe knight g6 if this guy disappears. Okay, you're probably going to take, right? You're not going to play bishop f7. You can't play bishop f7. You can't play bishop f7 and you can't lose the bishop. Therefore, g takes f5, right? It's kind of like a forcing move. Isn't it the forcing move? g6 takes f5. A forced move, right? Can you generate any other counterattack? I don't see any. But the fact I don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But just say, I guess you got to take on f5. g6 takes f5. Knight g3 takes f5. Heck, bishop takes, knight takes. You just play like this. It's a sequence of forced moves here. Bishop f7. Man, I'm really surprised. I'm not Abdusatorov, that's for sure, and I'll never be, but bishop f7. What the heck is this? Bishop f7? Okay, someone tell me how is Abdu gonna get the knight on h8 somewhere? When? How? And now Magnus just solidified the f5 pawn. And probably he's gonna go for this idea as well. Well, there is always this, but man, there is always rook h7 though. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Bishop h6 is now or never. Yeah, bishop f6 is now or never. Yeah, if you want to do something, you got to do it. Let me tell you how Magnus will react. Will react with knight e6. You want to bet? So if there is any bishop h6 on OG, which I don't deny, it's a hit. I mean, this is something. But bishop h6, I think Magnus is planning knight e6 ASAP. It don't mean that the problems disappeared or something, but that's how you're going to play. It could be also some rook f3. Don't forget. I mean, just don't lose sight of rook f3 as a potential defensive resource here for white. It could be this as well. Yeah. It could be. Okay, yeah, bishop h6. Knight e6. I think it's painful. It's rook f3, and then if you got a chance, oops, maybe some bishop, maybe some, well, maybe, but there's already queen going for the g3 knight. I think rook. Oh my God, can you do rook f3 right now? Just taking care of the knight and taking care of this threat in the future. Is that employable? I wonder. Rook f3. If you move the knight, where do you move the knight and why? I don't see anything. Well, you can move the queen. Queen f3? Can you? I guess you can, moving the queen away from... Yeah, you could do queen f3 as well. You just have to calculate. That's why it's chess, and thankfully now they got more than a few minutes. They got half an hour, respectively 25 minutes for Abdu. Okay, so you know, that one works. That one works. Which one is best? I would like a little bit Queen F3 because I want to move away from this sort of line, and maybe I want to keep the rook flexible to go either E or H or something. So I guess Queen F3. You have to save the knight. So Queen F3 or Rook F3? Which one is it? Or none of these? You tell me, guys, if you think there's something else other than Queen F3 or Rook F3. Other than this. Yeah, by the way, about the forcing moves, I made in the last 3 days, I made like 3 videos on the, yeah, Queen F3, there you go. I made 3 videos on the forcing moves, threats, captures, and checks. At your convenience, guys, you may have a look at those ones too. But I guess you're very much familiar with these ideas. Bishop d6, bishop d6. What do you think? What do you think? It's your idea. What do you think? What do you think about bishop d6? And then I'm going to give you my very honest opinion on this. So now, G, how do you think that bishop d6 fits into the great scenario here? Why would you choose bishop h6 rather than bishop d6 on OG? They both attacking moves. They both creating massive threats. So rook had to defend. Really? If bishop d6, knight moves away. Yeah, maybe-ish, if I am to go back a little bit into something that never happened. Maybe. Maybe. Anyway, bishop h6 had been played, and rook e1 to defend this guy twice because of the threat. So, right. Rook defending here twice against the double threat. Game is playable. Game is playable. I can tell to my friends that the knight on d4 as a most ideal outpost, knight on d4, it cannot be challenged by any pawn. You can't get more happiest. You can't get a happier outpost than knight on d4. So this guy is perfectly placed where they are. Interesting. Does he want to make a pin? Well, not just a pin, it's actually a double attack on g3. Well, look at the subtlety of this. Hi there, mate. Thanks for joining. You're more than free to type in your best candidate moves, and let's exercise our chess understanding here. So this move could be probably continued with bishop h4, double attack on g3, which makes sense, and the knight is pinned. If you go back, he can come up with something else. He might be repeating stuff. There might be a first chance to draw now, I guess, for Abdusatorov if he want to draw, although I think he quite nicely does the attack here. If you give Magnus a chance, he will come with this kind of ideas. I guess it's very powerful. Let me tell you what I think. It's a little bit unfortunate for Abdusatorov is that the knight on h8 can't really move anywhere. Not as of now. And I guess if he takes on f5, I'm not sure it favors black very much, given the fact you might take with the knight. But then again, if this bishop makes it on h4, it might be difficult for Magnus to play knight g3 to f5, because I guess you want to keep this knight here, because this knight here stops any d4 pawn dismantling things and subjecting the king to rook checks and stuff. So I guess you want to keep this white knight here on d4 forever. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I just said that. I just said bishop c2, bishop a4. But now, I think it's been a couple of moves that they played. Let me just go. Let me refresh the page, actually. Apologies for one fraction of a second. Right. You're talking about if they capture here? Yeah. Yeah. If they capture here, bishop takes f5. It's another option, which means check with tempo. That might be another option. I'm not sure he's going to take. That is why I said that the knight on h8, it's not optimistic. It's just not very happy this knight. Where do you get the knight? How? Doing what exactly? So this knight's position is bad. Is a bad bishop. Whereas Magnus can very happily get bishop c2 and bishop a4. He played a4. Does he want to open the a now? Or does he want to relaunch the knight here? I would have expected some bishop c2. Feels like something cool to happen for white, but anyway. Hi there, Marlon. Dude, I actually don't hate 960, I gotta tell you. Now, you got all the freedom to hate a specific chess format. I actually find it quite creative, so to speak. I find it very creative. And I would very much appreciate when Super GM actually get to be creative from the very first move, so to speak. So that no one is memorizing 25 moves in the Najdorf, for instance, give an example. Or playing a Ruy Lopez that is known in the first 30 moves. I still love the traditional one, Marlon. Don't get me wrong. I really do love the traditional chess. Passionately. With great passion. Traditional chess, classical chess. I absolutely love it. But I've nothing against 960. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. I got no problem with 960. Fischer Random or classical chess. But I just gotta say that the Fischer Random does force the Super GMs to just play something nice from the very beginning. Yeah, knight b4, knight b5 would be attacking the queen for sure. And black has to be careful about some other potential forks. So now he decided to take upon this pawn. Now I think Magnus presents itself with a huge opportunity. Question is, do you take with the knight or do you take with the bishop? They all comes with the stuff. Or don't tell me you're going to take with the pawn. I guess you got to just sit down and calculate for the next 4 or 5 minutes. You're going to take back with bishop, g-pawn, or knight g3 to f5. Or you're going to take with the other knight. Although I think this knight has to stay exactly where they are because of the attacking potential on b5, etc. So not with this knight, though. No. Let me refresh the page. Apologies. I just misclicked. So probably you want to take with the bishop because you develop piece of the back rank, check the king with tempo, and hey, it's good. If you remember Sunoji, we did mention that d4 move that actually Abdusatorov did not play it because he went for that very passive and maybe slow g6 option. If you remember that moment in our stream, I think that d4 move was actually required to play it right then and there. That d4, and he didn't play it. And he slowly, step by step, allowed Magnus to actually come up with all sorts of continuations and things. You remember that moment? We will be checking with the engine at the end and see if actually d4 was more incisive to play for black rather than g6 move he did. Because now look, Magnus has options. When you give your opponent options, the future is no longer that certain. I mean, it's getting very, very open with all sorts of attacking lines and avenues and things. So now, you know, Magnus has options. I guess the most enticing is bishop takes f5. On the other hand, he wanted to do the trade on f5 because he probably, Abdusatorov, wants to play knight g6 as well. At some point, somehow, maybe then jumping here. You could take with the pawn, you could take with the knight, you could take with the bishop, on God. You could take with all those three pieces. Heck, you can even take with the queen, but that's just painful, right? I don't know. Would you take with the queen? You got actually 4 pieces ready to take. Well, you got 5 pieces in total, but I guess probably bishop most likely. I don't know. I haven't checked the format if they get an increment. I gotta check that one. I don't know if they get increments. So no G. It's still time to get to move 40, but the game is getting... Oops, no, apologies. That's a misclick again from my part. Hey, he played with the bishop, fellas. Bishop takes f5, check, with tempo. King moves away. And now Magnus has more opportunities to getting more pieces involved. Okay, would you move the king to connect the rooks? Would you push? Would you play this? What do you do? What do you do? So I think now Magnus is relieved. After that danger d4, which Abdusatorov didn't play, I think at this moment now, Magnus is absolutely super happy with the current position. All of a sudden, he can find the best way to continue now. It looks optimistic for white at this stage. There is a little bit of a backward pawn here. Okay, there is something you need to pay attention to, which is e3 square. I guess you can ramp it up. You can just get more pressure there. You tell me if you think that's the case or not, guys. Probably. Yeah. So what's the plan for white now? Do you play a king to connect the rooks? And if you play the king, where do you play the king? I think either this or that, right? You either play king d2 or king c2. Which one's going to be? If you play the king. Which, probably not a bad one, but can you do something else? Should you open up with a5? Yeah, maybe c2. So let's just highlight a couple of moves here that I see them as candidate moves here. It could be, oopsie. Oops. It could be this. Okay. What the? It could be this. It could be this. King c2. a5. What else? Knight here. I'm not sure, but there's something. Do you play the bishop back in order to get knight f5? I'm not sure. These are all candidate moves. Well, he's got like 20 minutes. He'll figure out something. He'll most certainly figure out something. There you go, fellas. Rook e2. And I think I might understand what's going on with this guy. Does he want to play this? And then doubling up the rooks and just simply checkmate? Of course. Because you got the freaking bishop here cutting off the c8 square. So you got a bishop on f5. First, you're going to push a5 because you want to open up the a file. You're going to make a battery, and even if the rook takes your guy, you don't care. Nah, I think you can push a5 right now. Oh! Oh, sugar. You know what black going to do? Black going to do this. In the moment you push a5, I mean, the plan was very reasonable for white to want to open up the a and things. But Abdusatorov played knight g6, and now he's going to play a fork. He's going to play a fork. Yes, Angad, that's exactly what Magnus planned, but after knight g6, you got to change the plan again. You have to change the plan again. Because of knight h4. And that's a problem. That is a problem. You also have to maintain double defense for the e3 due to bishop and rook attacking on e3. So I don't know. a5, knight h... What? What did you have? Wait a sec. Wait a sec, Feckle. Wait a sec, guys. It did take because it was just too dangerous, and bishop takes. Bishop pair versus the knights pair. Bishop pair versus knights pair. Okay. Okay, crazy. Okay. Okay. Difficult. Knight f5. Oh boy. Knight f5. Well, if bishop takes, you're going to take with queen, pawn, or knight. I guess you want to keep this guy on the most ideal outpost. And you're going to have to take back with the pawn, right? You take back with the pawn because you got to defend this guy. And then given a chance, maybe some king and maybe some rook somewhere, somehow. I guess you're going to give up the plan with a5 now. Anyway, black's turn to move. Well, it actually did get more simplified, but I think now black is happier with the bishop pair. Ideal for Magnus would be to trade one of Abdustorov's bishops. Those guys are dangerous. The bishops are very dangerous in the open positions like this. Very dangerous, those bishops. I'm not sure Abdu's going to take, though. But just saying, it's dangerous. Those bishops are so powerful. He's not going to trade the knight. He's not going to take on f5. Nah, he's not going to take. Maybe he's going to think about this kind of stuff. I'm not sure, but just saying. Or maybe he's going to play queen directly. All sorts of things. All sorts of things. There's something weird took place. I think that rook e2 was a bit too slow idea. That rook e2 with a5 and things was a bit too slow for white, perhaps. Because that allowed the Storov to play this thing, and then you had to give away your bishop. Tough one. Yeah, knight b5 indeed. I'm not sure if queen d5. What about queen a7? Is that playable? No, because this guy's okay. There's very many Fs. Do you want to attack now? I'm not sure. Maybe. 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 I think you still need to investigate if there is any chance to getting the rooks on the A file. Maybe a5 still playable after all. But then again, it's black's turn to play. So again, maybe a move like a5 is really to being properly investigated. As per black, you gotta do something with the H file. Or can you increase and double and get a triple attacker? But how do you get a triple attacker here? Can you do this? It's just too sick. Can't do this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, the white bishop had disappeared. Unfortunately for Magnus, that bishop was quite limiting for black. And Abdusatorov played the move that scared him so much that he actually decided to trade the bishop. Hey, I did say that, Queen. So I did say it, but I didn't give it too much credit because I'm not very much fascinated by it. What exactly want to do with that queen there? A5. I did say this, and I did say that one too, as potential ideas for both black and white. I did mention queen to just trying to pressurize a bit more here on E3, and I did say A5 because it's still it still seems to me important to try and open up the A for any potential future doubling of the rooks. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how really they're gonna do that, but I think it's there are many crazy stuff here, Angad. Let me just briefly. Oh, whoa, they didn't play that, did they? Wait a minute. If bishop were to capture here, and if you were to take back with the knight, there's also c3 hanging. So there are quite a few threats here. There are quite a few threats taking place right now. That's going to be a very exciting ending here. It's still middle game, but going to become an ending very soon, I guess. So you may want to take this guy. Question is, you got to react to this a5 move, right? Now, if you take, they might take with the rook, though. Oh boy, that's just something. That's just something. Ooh. What? Queen e4? You want to play queen e4? It's black's turn, by the way. Oh, you're talking from white's perspective. Sorry, I don't get it, man. You wanna oh, absolutely. Everything goes out the window. If you screw up now with either white or black, everything's gone. Everything collapses. Everything collapses now. If you play one blunder, it's gone. So c3 is a weakness long term. If the bishop were to take the knight, probably you want to take back with the pawn or with the queen. No. You want to take back with the pawn. But then this guy is actually attacked 3 times, but as long as the not. Okay, this is queen e4. Very difficult. Queen e4. Queen e4. Oh boy. e4. I guess. Very difficult. Maybe you want to take here first. Maybe black wants to take the knight first. And then. I'm not sure how much of a draw is getting into Marlon. I'm not sure how much of a draw. Queen e4. I guess he wants to take the knight first. Bishop takes. And if you take with the knight, then there is a check here, and then c3. c3 is hanging after queen d3. Even if you defend with the rook or anything, c3 is to be taken straight away. Queen e4 had been played amongst others for queen d3, so you kind of have to take the queen, yeah. Do you? If you play rook d2, you decrease the defense for the e3, if that means anything. It kind of feels like forced. If you don't take, what can you do though? Oh boy. I guess you're tempted to take because it's just too powerful. It's too dangerous, that queen, especially after queen d3, queen c3. It's just too much. I guess. So you're gonna take the queen, right? Queen takes, and then they're gonna take with the rook, thus giving the other rook a chance to go behind and attacking that e3 pawn like 3 times. Then you do have king d2 and maybe rook e1. Is that working? So yeah, I think queens will be traded now, Sonoji and my friends. I think queens will be traded now. I would say yeah. Yeah, I would say yeah, it will be a queen trade. It should be a queen trade, I guess. Yeah. Yes, I think should be a queen trade. So Magnus takes his time. He's like 15 minutes. He's got, let's say, 2 minutes more than Abdo, and he's gonna think actually. Rook a3, rook d2, but everything feels weird. Probably yes. Queen takes. Yes, it was a little bit forced. Sonoji, yeah. Queen takes, rook takes, exactly as we said. Rook takes because Abdo wants to play the other rook over to e8, triple attack on this guy. But there is something interesting here. If you play the rook now, might you be getting into this? Fork? Maybe not, because rook takes first. This is crazy. I think it's safe to do rook e8. There is no fork because you're going to take with check first, and actually white's going to lose. Yeah, a b6. Yeah, could be, could be, could be. Could be a b6, yeah. Could be, of course. Yeah. A b6, yeah. Makes sense. A lot of sense. A lot of sense because in principle you may want to get the rook also here. Especially if the other black rook goes away from the d file. You may want to get some rook on a5. Yeah, it could be. It could be. $13 for both of them. A b6 indeed. A takes b6 indeed. Oh yeah, Marlon, the bishop pair is a nightmare. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So A takes b6. As you guys said, Sonoji, yeah, A takes b6 makes a lot of sense. Let me tell you something interesting. Just as a potentiality would be this and that. Well, probably you guys saw that already because AB6 means that the C7 no longer accessible. So you might be able to do something serious. And frankly, if you're being Abdusatorov, you have to address this one ASAP. This is a problem. This is a problem. And you actually want to go for this. A very difficult game. A very difficult ending. He wants to play rook g1 now. What do you do? Do you... No, you can't do this. It's just too much. You're going to be dropping this guy. This is very difficult. You move the king. Probably king d2. This is a very difficult one. Are you going to play king d2? But if you play king d2, you can no longer make a battery here, you see? But if you don't, how the heck are you going to be stopping this problem here? a very tough little position here because rook g1 is coming now. And what do you do about it? What do you do about this one in particular? Tell me. It's a tough one. Well, how do you stop it? Oh my god. That's gonna happen ASAP. That's exactly what's gonna happen next. It's absolutely forced. It is. It is forced. Rook g1. You're gonna do it straight away. Because it's just checkmating a move here. So rook g1 is going to happen. No if, no but. Yeah, and now you're gonna move the king on the second rank. I'm not sure if here. I mean, probably not c2 because you're still in a pin. So probably you're gonna do d2 or e2, right? No, I don't know if you did that. Apologies. So you're gonna play either this or that. And look like Vincent Keymer defeated Gukesh. So king e2. King e2 because he probably may want to play f2 if there's any stuff at some point. Anyway, rook are gonna take rook now for sure. You have well, it could be another check here, but that's ridiculous. No, you're gonna be rook takes, rook takes. Gonna be rook takes, rook takes. And maybe we're gonna see another rook coming over here. Although the knights are no longer in a pin, you gotta look after forks and crazy stuff. You gotta be careful. So yeah, rook takes, rook takes. Still the bishop pair. So let's just look 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 white pawns, 4 black pawns. But bishop pair. But those guys are so well together. Okay, points of attacks for white and black. This is a weakness for black, for Magnus. E3, weakness for Magnus. Probably this one will be adding more pressure here. Weakness for black is this guy, probably attackable like this. And yeah, there is some checks with the bishop on h5, but I'm not sure what does that achieve. Yeah, if you get a knight on c7 and the rook on a8, you do have a checkmate, Marlon. How do you get a knight on c7 without losing the other knight? And do you have the necessary time to do that? Yeah, okay, I agree. No, exactly. If you do this, this guy's going to take here. Does that matter, though? I'm going to play this. I think it might worth giving up that bishop, that knight. Yeah, if you do knight c7 and rook a8, it is a checkmate. It is a checkmate indeed. You might be just giving that guy. Yeah, it might be. It's definitely worth investigating. Yeah, it's definitely something. I agree. I agree. I agree. Um, we said that with the rook on e8. We did say that, and that means another stuff. Okay, we gotta just simply sit down and calculate. If this happens now, they're gonna be taking here. You're gonna be playing this. They're gonna be playing this. They're gonna be playing this. You're gonna be moving here. You're gonna be playing this. They're gonna be moving here. You're not gonna have any checkmate. If you're playing knight b5, you're losing. because rook to e8 allows the king to play c8 and then d7 out of the back rank checks. So it's now working knight b5 at this stage. It's good to having it as a threat, Marlon, but I guess now it's losing for white. If you do this, you're just gonna lose the game. So you can't do it now. You gotta look for something else. I don't know what that something else is, but you gotta look for something else. So I'm not sure if you should go rook h1 or you should go rook a5 looking for this guy. I'm not sure now. Should you do this for this or something else? I'm not sure. I don't know. Another idea, it might be rook a5, rook a5 or rook d5. You know why? Because amongst others, if bishop takes and knight takes, they're going to be playing this. And then they're attacking the very piece that with which you defend twice on e3. So that's another stuff. So bishop takes, knight takes, rook e5, and then you got an issue. You could potentially then just playing rook here. So that might be the move after all. But yeah, that might be the move. But then long term, the king itself, long term. But then this guy, it's a lot to calculate. It's just not simple. It's just not simple. Should you move the king to f3? For all sorts of reasons, moving the king away from the rook's e file, allowing rook e to defend if necessary. I'm not sure. I feel it has to be a rook move, right? It's got to be a rook move. Would you do just this? But that's more like defending. More like defending. If you play rook f1, it's just you're just defending. Rook f1, you just defend. Maybe. What else do you do with the rook if you want to do something with the rook? Yeah, it could be rook h1, but also defensive, Marlon. So they both defensive moves. Both rook f1 and rook h1 are purely defensive moves. But I think, as I said, Marlon, I think the problem would be not necessarily bishop h5 here for white. It's just bishop takes f5, knight takes f5, and rook e5. I think that's the bigger problem. Yeah, you can always have rook f1, but you're still defending. I guess that's what you have to do. So probably rook f1. Probably rook f1. Probably rook f1. I feel like now Abdu has the initiative. After this move had happened now, I think Abdu has the attack and the initiative. He may want to go places. h1, bishop takes, knight takes, rook e5, then you have rook h3. You though, what? Sorry, don't you just drop a knight? Rook h1, bishop takes, knight takes, rook e5. You play rook h3, don't you just drop that knight? I think you drop the knight on f5, Marlon, yeah. Practically you lose the game at that stage. Yeah. You just lose that knight. Yeah, I guess if you don't want to waste any more time, probably rook f1 straight away. You do rook f1 and... Hey, he played your move, brother. You play like Magnus. Rook h1. Well, not that there was too many options for white. We did highlight them, either rook f1 or rook h1. But then again, if Abdu now plays, as we said, this kind of stuff, you're going to have to move rook back to f1, right? Unless I'm missing tactics again. Wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. Rook h1 wants to say, if you play rook e5, I can give you a check, and then you're going to have to drop your guy, takes and takes. Heck, that is so cool. And then we might be playing some forks. That's cool. I think we got it. If rook e5, which I doubt Abdu's going to play, Magnus's plan is rook h8, which is check, forcing the rook back. I'm not sure if forcing the rook or maybe the bishop, but I think it's painful to play bishop in a pin. You don't wanna put the bishop in a pin. You wanna rook h1 wants to go for h8. If you make a rook lift now, if you play rook lift, it's gonna be rook h8 check. Therefore, Abdu is not going to do the rook lift. He gotta have to think of something else. I'm not sure what that is. You gotta just sit down and think a little bit more than 1 or 2 minutes. I mean, this is a important moment of the game. Very important moment. So rook h1 wants to do rook h8 if rook e5, Marlon and Suno G and my friends. If there is anyone else, that's the idea behind. For sure. So we didn't actually cover this very important detail, Marlon. I've completely disregarded rook h8, which is very important. Very, very important idea. And again, I don't think Abdu's gonna do a rook lift now. No, I don't think so. I don't think you want to trade the rooks. That pressure looks too nice. Yeah, rook h1 goes for the back rank checks. That's exactly what it does. That's very much exactly what it is. So let's see what Abdu's gonna play. You would say that by the book, the bishop pair is stronger, right? Okay. How do you stop this thing with the back rank issues and check and threats? How do you stop that thing? If you're black here, can you take the knight? Knight takes. You can't move the rook because then you're gonna get just simply checkmated. What if you march on with the king though? Just to give yourself the chance to moving away. If you were Abdu, would you play king c8? Marlon, Sunoji? Can king c8 be considered a move now? Very, very genuine question. Can you do king c8 for black? Or you cannot? You cannot. Therefore, what do you do? Yeah, no, the back rank is a major thing for white. And a very difficult thing to deal with for black. And the king actually seems to be unable to move because of the fork. Actually, it's quite a difficult one. That b6 pawn is like a phone in the back. That b6 pawn is really, really annoying. This is a serious idea. It's a very, very limiting little pawn there. Heck, it threatens checkmate. You gotta be very careful with that. Otherwise, yes, the bishop pair, I think it's... The bishop pair is more menacing. Especially in this kind of open positions. But how exactly you addressing the back rank threats? Question is... How are you gonna deal with that? You can't move the king because there is a fork, right? So what do you do with black? And this pawn on b6 is so well protected. The rook can't attack it. If the rook moves, there is back rank checks. How do you deal with this b6 white pawn? How do you attack it? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Can you do something else? This and this and I mean, this is just, oh my god. Oh boy. And the minute you do that, I do this. You can't even, again, you can't do the rook lift because it's a checkmate. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Rook f8. I mean, okay, this is painful for Abdu to play. Really painful. Just look at this. Look, this is just painful move. I'm sure he's very, very, very not happy about that rook f8 thing. At least this guy gets neutralized now, especially following knight e6. Knight e6. You're gonna move the rook, right? You're gonna move the rook. I don't know where. You're gonna move the rook. And once you move the rook, I'm gonna take this guy. I don't know, but I think rook f8 did give him a great end satisfaction for Abdu to play it. Rook f8. It's painful to look at rook f8 being played by black. Really, really painful. I guess Magnus gonna go knight e6, right? If you think it's not knight e6, what do you think it is? I mean, we might be surprised, but now it's the chance to get rid of that pesky bishop on g5. Now you could do it. Knight, okay. And mind you guys, after 90... Where did this guy play? For Christ's sake. Oh man, this Magnus guy really shocks every single time, isn't he? He wants to shock you to your very core. And then he wants to play this. Oh my god, this is so cool. Jesus Christ. Man is coming with some moves. He's coming with some moves. This is fabulous resource here. Notice how, even if the rook were to capture, you can't really take it because of the back rank again. There is bishop d3 indeed. Is that a big of a threat though? There is bishop d3. I don't deny it. But you got to be very careful. If that bishop goes away, you may not be having, I mean, you got to be very careful. Bishop d3, king f2. Yeah, you can. You got to be very, you won't be able to move that rook ever. You will not be able to move the rook from the 8th rank ever because of the back rank threats. And there is also this might be coming at some point, I guess. Or maybe this and this for this. This is so complicated, although it looks it goes towards the end. Hello, Anirudh. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. So this is so complicated. And what makes it more complicated is that Abdu goes now with, I mean, below 2 minutes. And it's really tragic. It's just... Again, you would say the bishop pair is supreme, right? Well, there are exceptions. Especially when there is a pawn in the back, as the pawn here on b6. As this guy here on b6. You can't do stuff with the black rook. My god. Yeah, bishop d3, but I think it's a false threat, so to speak. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, right? You're going to move the king and... what do you do with the bishop, frankly? I think you need this bishop to actually cutting off the knight's initiative. I mean, you need the bishop to defend. Oh, what happened? Someone resigned. Yeah, he resigned, man. My God, he resigned. It's just too much. Now I'm putting the engine. Now I'm putting the engine. Plus 6.4. My God, it's a complete dominating with the knight's pair. This is painful. This is so painful. My God, he resigned because you just can't do stuff. Exactly. Bishop d3, king f2. We said that. It's just so painful to play. You can't move. No, you just don't have nothing to play. It's just too much. And this one here, coming 96, we did say that as well. Sonoji, let's go. Exactly. Let's go just quickly and just see that d4 crazy stuff. Where was it, man? G6. No. Not this is it. Oh, sugar. Sonoji, have a look on the screen, brother. Have a look on the screen. Have a look on the screen. d4 is the second move of the engine, followed by bishop f5. As I said, king c7, castle long. So after all, I wasn't completely deluding. d4 and bishop f5 ASAP. So if this stuff had happened, bishop f5, as I said, king to b8, and now just castles. Crazy. No, you got a castle or play king c2, but king c2 is painful after g6 and stuff, so you just castle. But wait a minute. What castle long? King c1. I said king c. Sorry, why can't you castle? Oh, hold on a second. The engine is not set for castle long, man. Sorry, why can't I castle? No, but you're supposed to castle, right? Because it's Fisher random. No. Also, the engine suggests castle long here. Sorry, what the heck? Okay, I don't know. Is that a glitch or something? Yeah, I did say king c1 during the stream. The second line of the engine, not great. Not great. Engine doesn't allow, yeah. Engine doesn't allow it. Oh, sugar, yes. Nah. I was supposed to get the king and drop it on the rook, exactly as Cthulhu said. All right, so that would have been actually quite cool for white. But Abdusatorov wanted to keep the king uncastled. And he did manage for a while, though. He did manage for a while. What a crazy game. What a crazy game that was. What a super crazy game that was. Yeah, in 960, you are supposed to get the king, put it on top of the rook. Crazy. So when you castle, in the Fisher random, you want to put the king on top of the rook. Sick. I didn't know that. Honestly, I didn't know that. So thank you, God King Tulu, for mentioning. That's a good question. Where it went wrong. That's a good question. Let's find out quickly. So g6 being played by Abdo. e3 exactly with the purpose to stopping d4 coming down the board and opening up the d file for the rook. Queen goes. Okay, still okay here. Queen e2. Rook fe. Knight c2 being played. Obviously, excellent outpost, which you went. Very much equalish. Man, that was a sick move here. What did I say? I wanted to play knight d4, I think I said something. But anyway, b4. b4. He played bishop here attacking. h3, I did say h3. Oh, do you remember, Sunoji? We did say both h3 and f5 as the only moves, actually. I mean, you got just two options here. And I did say that one too. And I did say f5. I did say f5. When Magnus came with knight d4. Okay. Actually, f5 would have been a bit better for white. Takes an f5. I think we're talking about this moment here. This is the moment. This is the moment. The moment is here, Sonoji. Here is the moment for Abdusatorov that things go a little bit weird. Looks like when you take on G4, you're dismantling things, you're increasing the attacking power, you're threatening to win the queen and stuff. But after HG, you mustn't take. You actually are supposed to play F5. So actually, if you want to be cool, you got to push the pawn and maintain the status quo, maintaining the balance of the game. But actually, when he took, it's very hard to assess this one. It's very difficult because it's big subtlety here. When you actually take, you allow white to go with F5, and actually he gets the upper hand now. He got the upper hand right now with F5, and that is something. That is something. It's just something now. And now he goes with this, and now Magnus started to actually take initiative. Okay, this is the game. Magnus played magnificent. He played magnificent, step by step, increasing and increasing and increasing the control over the position here. Yes, he is incredibly inspired and such a strong player. Yes, and now he took with tempo. Bishop takes F5 with tempo, pushes the king. Rook to E2. What did I say in the game? I did say during the stream A5. I did say in the stream... Yeah, I did say this idea. I don't recognize the other thoughts. Queen F2. I didn't say Queen F2. I said something with the king. Well, probably it's not the best one. I wanted to connect the rooks. Rook E2, not necessarily a bad one. Bishop takes, and knight plays ideal. Very much equal. Yeah, I did say this one as well. What else did I say here? Rook E4. I did say Rook E4, I think. Queen here. A5, yes. This is the big mistake. So no, gee, this is the moment where actually Abdusatorov messed up massively. This is the moment. He was supposed to take on A, but he didn't like it. Actually, this is apparently the bigger problem here for him. Actually, this is the bigger problem. Now it's Queen E4. Queen E4 is the bigger problem. He thought he's gonna create some complications here, but after Queen takes, things are in order. Actually, not in order. Are greatly positive for White here, and this one was a slow killer. This A5 to B6 was a very slow killer. And that's going to be stemming a lot of problem for back rank. Oh, man. Oof. Oh, man. Magnus comes with these things, man. You would say, and I did say, because I'm panicking, I did say to move the king not to getting checked on the background, but Magnus always finds them. He always finds them. Checkmate threat. Rook had to forced. King moves. Rook takes. He always finds them. And now the rest is history. Rook H1 for the back rank. You can't move the left. You can't move the rook. And that was the most painful thing ever. Even bishop takes F5 would have been better. We did say about that kind of thing. I did say Rook F8 is the most painful thing that actually Abdusatorov played. Heck, he played it after 6 minutes, man. He played this move after 6 minutes of thinking. He must have seen something that didn't exist. My God. Even we said bishop takes F5, you know, just try simplify things. But boy, he went with the most painful stuff. And now Magnus is just killing him. My God. Wow. Alrighty. Okay, guys, you can join the chess club on League Chess if you want to, just for future tournaments. And yeah, send me some friend request on chess.com, the same Soren Chess Coach, guys. And yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm going to see you guys. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow for the semifinals too. Thank you very much, Sono G. Thank you, God King Tulu, who was there, Marlon. Thanks a bunch, Marlon. And apologies if I missed any of you guys. Have I? It was another guy. I can't find him now. But anyway, guys, I really do appreciate your presence and see you guys tomorrow for the semifinal too. Cool things. Thanks a bunch, Marlon. Appreciate it, buddy. Cheers.